take a deep breath, take the higher road. That's what they always say, as if they know the way. They won't take it from me. But don't ever doubt yourself, 'cause life ain't just a dream. You make your own, so kick and scream. The people will act with a never-ending force. You never had the chance, so what you waiting for? The day has come, my friend, 'cause this is war. It's time and this is war.
Today we are going to embark on a journey into the captivating world of hypnotherapy, a powerful tool that unlocks the hidden potential of the human mind. Hypnotherapy is a remarkable therapeutic approach that harnesses the power of focused attention and heightened suggestibility to create positive change in our lives. It's not about swinging pocket watches or making people cluck like chickens, but it is a scientifically backed method that taps into the incredible resources of our subconscious mind. Imagine having the ability to rewire negative thought patterns, break free from destructive habits, and overcome deep-seated fears, all by accessing the untapped power within you. That is the magic of hypnotherapy. During one of these sessions, a trained professional guides you into a state of deep relaxation and focused attention. In this state, your conscious mind takes a back seat, allowing the hypnotherapist to communicate directly with your subconscious, the powerhouse behind your beliefs, behaviors, and emotions. From conquering phobias and managing chronic pain to boosting self-confidence and achieving weight loss goals, hypnotherapy has shown remarkable results across a wide range of issues. It's been used to help people quit smoking, improve sleep, enhance athletic performance, and even manage symptoms of certain medical conditions. But here's the most exciting part. Hypnotherapy empowers you to be the agent of change in your own life. It's not about being controlled. It's about gaining control over aspects of your life that once seemed beyond your reach. As we delve deeper into this topic, prepare to be amazed by the transformative potential of hypnotherapy. During this next hour, we are going to tell you about how you can unlock the extraordinary power of your mind and embark on this journey of self-discovery and positive change. You're listening to Nurses Out Loud on America Out Loud Talk Radio. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton. Before we get started today, I do want to encourage our listeners, if you have questions or comments, or perhaps you want to share your own experiences with what you're seeing on the front lines of healthcare, you can now submit those to any of the hosts by emailing us directly at nurses@americaoutloud.com. We would love to hear from you. We encourage all of you to engage in the battle and find your voice in this fight. But until you are able to do that, we will continue to be that voice for you. Melissa Deely is an integrative mind-body health practitioner and accomplished trainer in NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy. She is passionate about helping you feel and look your very best. Leveraging the precision of functional medicine labs delivered to your doorstep, she unravels the root causes of health issues and skillfully guides your healing journey. What sets Melissa apart is her authentic and compassionate approach. She listens, collaborates, and empowers, explaining the why behind each step. A trailblazer, Melissa supports other coaches in their transformative journeys, training them in these powerful modalities. As the host of the impactful Don't Wait for Your Wake Up Call podcast, she imparts concise, actionable insights on health and mindset, embodying her dedication to holistic well-being. Melissa is also the co-founder of Girls Matter, a foundation dedicated to keeping girls in school in Uganda and Kenya, breaking the poverty cycle, one girl, one family, one village at a time. Melissa Deely, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Kimberly. I'm excited to be here.
I'm very excited to have you on. We had met previously. We did a call not too terribly long ago. And I was learning more about hypnotherapy and timeline therapy in the NLP. And I'm really excited to share this with our listeners. But as we get started, I'd like to know what first ignited your passion for this realm, if you will.
Certainly. So I was an integrative health practitioner already and using those functional medicine labs that get mailed to people's homes and looking for the root cause to someone's health so that we could, look at healing the physical body. And the physical body is designed to self-heal when we create the environment for it to do so. So understanding the root cause, releasing toxicities, supporting deficient nutrient deficiencies, etc., and adjusting lifestyle factors all allows us to get that body into that place where it can self-heal. And some people were very successful at following my wellness plans and bringing their body into balance and getting the health results that they wanted. And some people, even though they had the best of intentions, would get stuck along the way. And I was questioning, why is this happening? How come they aren't able to follow the wellness plan? I started questioning my ability to, as a coach, and as always happens, the universe brings you the resources that you need in the exact moment that you need them. And it was then that a naturopathic doctor reached out to me on LinkedIn and started talking to me about the most powerful mind-body tools. And I was really intrigued, and it sounded right away like, this is something that I need in order to be able to support my clients. And so I dove in, and what I started to learn was literally blowing my mind. And that is, first off, that we have 4 bodies, not only the physical body, we have an emotional body, a mental body, a spiritual body. And when symptoms show up in the physical body, they've already moved through the other 3 bodies. And so, yes, we can start the healing in the physical body. However, we then need to clear the toxic, stuffed down emotions in the emotional body, the limiting beliefs in the mental body, the misalignment as to who we are and our passion and purpose on this planet in our spiritual body. And it's when we do that that we can bring someone to their optimal health and vibrancy. And if we don't clear those things, what happens is often 1 year, 2 years later, that person ends up with more symptoms because the body is talking to them going, hello, I know you addressed that last time, but you didn't address all the stuffed down emotions. You didn't address the limiting beliefs. So now I'm giving you more symptoms to get you to a place of awareness so that you can address it. And understanding that and having the tools to be able to help people literally detox their physical body, their mental, their emotional, and spiritual bodies was the game changer for me in being able to truly help people on their wellness journey. And I love this work. And I love the opportunity to talk about it because we don't know what we don't know. And so thank you for bringing me on the show here so that we can share this with a broader audience. Hypnotherapy has been around since the beginning of time. NLP work was developed like in the late 1970s by Dr. John Grinder and Richard Bandler. And then timeline therapy was developed at the turn of this century. So it's just over 20 years old by Dr. Tad James. And so people tend not to have heard of these as much, and yet they are incredibly powerful tools. And when we use all 3 of them together in working with someone, we have a whole system in place that literally changes their life and allows them to step into perfect health and into the person that they're always meant to be.
That's
And so
amazing.
I absolutely love these tools.
And can you tell the listeners, please, a little bit, like explain NLP, what that is, and if you could just how you blend the hypnotherapy with the NLP and timeline therapy to create this type of powerful healing experience for people.
Absolutely. So NLP stands for neuro-linguistic programming. So we're looking at the neurological programming that we absorbed as children. Basically, when we're in that 0 to 6 age group, children are entirely in their unconscious mind. They are in the theta brainwave, which is the brainwave of hypnosis, because that's when kids have to learn so much. They have to learn how to walk and talk, and then they have to learn the rules of the household and the rules of school, the rules of society, and they are like sponges, and they're just learning everything because they are entirely in that theta brainwave, absorbing it all. And that's also when they start to create programming of how to function. So this happens, I do this. That happens, I do this. And the unconscious mind is very smart and it has a lot of jobs to do. So it wants to be really efficient. If it finds something that works, it's not going to go and make it better. It's just going to keep repeating that same program that works over and over again until it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, that's when we can actually rewire our neurology to create a new program. However, a lot of people don't know that, and they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s running programs that worked for them when they were 5 years old, and they no longer work now. And so we can use these tools in order to go, okay, what's the program that you're running? And let's update that for you. We update the programs on our phones every time we get notification of an update. We don't update the programs in our own selves because A, we don't necessarily know that we can, and B, we don't get an alert across our face that says it's time to update. Right. And so now, again, talking about this gets the message out that we can actually update our programs. We are literally, when we're born, we're like the hardware of a computer, and we have no programs yet. And then those first 6 years of life, it's installing all the programs, all the software, just download, download, download. And it's really important for people to know that we can update that. We can rewire our neurology. And that's what's so powerful about this work. And it's a system that we use working together. And I'm just going to try and explain it as best I can. So just bear with me here. What I want you to know is that right now in our world, we are taking in 12 million bits per second of information every single day through our 5 senses, mostly our eyes. That's a massive amount of information, and it's far too much for our powerful mind to be able to deal with. And so it has to compress that down to a manageable amount. And that manageable amount is about 128 bits per second. Now, just 20 years ago, the amount that we were taking in was only 2 million bits per second. So in 20 years, it's gone up by 10 million bits per second because of all the devices that we are constantly on, and we are just being bombarded by information. So what our mind does is it will compress that information through our filters. Now, every single human being has the same category of filters in our mind, and those categories are how we move through space, time, matter, energy, our beliefs, our values, our attitudes, our language, our memories, and our meta programs, which are the basis of our personality, such as, are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Those are the categories of our filters. And every single human being has unique filters because no two of us have had identical experiences throughout our entire life. So what happens is we get all this information in, and then our mind has to compress it down to a manageable amount through our filters. It's literally deleting, distorting, and generalizing what isn't important based on our filters down to that manageable amount of 128 bits per second. And then it creates what we call an internal representation, or the movie screen in our mind's eye of that event. And everybody can close their eyes and recall an event in their recent past. Maybe the last vacation they went on. You can close your eyes and you can put yourself right into the room that you stayed in, whether it was a friend's house or a hotel or an Airbnb. You can see the bed in the room. You can see the pillows on the bed, the color of the walls, the artwork. That is all part of our internal representation. And the internal representation that we bring up affects how we feel. So that's why I asked you to do something that was fun, a vacation. So maybe as you recalled the room that you stayed in, you had a little bit of a flood of happy feelings. And we also know that our state impacts our physiology. Happier people live longer because they're less stressed and their immune systems are stronger. Our state also impacts our behavior. If you wake up in the morning and you're feeling tired and you're like, oh, it's too early, I didn't want my alarm to go off yet, and you plan to go for a run, except now you're feeling lethargic, you're going to roll over and hit the snooze button. As opposed to if you wake up feeling really refreshed, you're like, yay, look at that. I'm jumping up, I'm getting dressed, I'm going out for my run. How we feel always impacts our behavior. So this entire system, it's timeline therapy that we use to adjust all of those filters. And why that is so powerful is if your filters currently have you running the horror show in your life out of your awareness, because this is all happening in the unconscious mind, and every thought you had, everything's running to the negative, that's the horror show. And that's based on your filters. We can change those filters for you in order to have you start running the love story. And when you start running the love story, that changes your internal representations. Life's more joyful. You see the positives, et cetera, et cetera. That changes your state. That changes your behavior, changes your physiology, your health. And we also can use our NLP techniques to change someone's internal representation, to have you run that love story rather than the horror show, as well as in 5 to 15 seconds, change your state so that if you're tired of feeling irritated every time you hear, I don't know, your mother-in-law's voice, you don't have to feel that way anymore. We can teach you a technique in order to literally change your state in 5 to 15 seconds. And we use hypnotherapy as like the nice little bow at the end that ties it all together after we've cleaned out all those toxic emotions, cleaned out all the limiting beliefs. Now we've created space for these beautiful suggestions that allow you to step into your true magnificence and live the life you've always wanted to live, be the person you've always wanted to be. And that's how it all works together so beautifully to create massive change for someone with the least amount of work and the most amount of positive benefit. And because we're working with the unconscious mind, this happens really, really quickly and without even having to talk about it. So a lot of people have trauma that is stuffed down inside them and they don't want to deal with it. The unconscious mind will bring it up for them to deal with when it deems that it's safe to do so. And sometimes they just put their hand up and go, nope, don't want to think about that, don't want to go there. Or sometimes they might find themselves going to therapy to help resolve it because they know they need to do something. And that's the avenue that they know of. However, at therapy, they might be asked to talk about it and they're rehashing it and they're feeling triggered and they're feeling like they're being run over by a train again as they relive it. And reliving it is actually deepening the neurology of that event. It's great for awareness. It doesn't actually resolve it. And so many people go to therapy for years and years and years, and they're not getting beyond it. With timeline therapy, we can actually have them release the stuffed down emotions. And it's very quick. And we do that through having them get the learnings from that event. Because everything is happening for us because we are meant to learn something. And I know when you're in the muck that it feels awful. You can't imagine that there's any possible way this is happening for you. However, if you step into asking that question, how is this happening for me? The answer will come, the learning will come, and you move through it much more quickly. You didn't know that before, so you've had it all stuffed down. Now we can release it. We can say, what was I supposed to learn then? You don't have to tell me anything about what happened. The unconscious mind already knows. You just
So for somebody with a trauma that they're looking to move beyond that, how many sessions would it take for them to start to notice a difference or to feel that release of that emotion, that trapped emotion?
2 sessions. The first session is an intake. And it's generally a 2-hour intake because it's very detailed. And we're not talking about the trauma. We're just getting some background. So your childhood, your family members, why you think you're here. And we kind of jokingly say that if they can say it, that ain't it. Because why you think you're here for the session is all entirely in your conscious mind. We want to go deeper. What's underneath that in the unconscious mind, which is why we go through this very detailed intake session. And then we do another session, which is about 2 hours, the first time someone does timeline therapy, and we guide them through the process. And in that 2 hours, they will notice the difference. They will feel the difference. And then we always give people tasking or homework to do afterwards, because when we rewire neurology, we're creating a little tiny bunny trail. And we have to have people keep taking action to deepen that bunny trail so that that becomes the new pathway for their brain to go on, and they no longer travel down the previous pathway. And it's not to say that you only ever do one timeline therapy session in your life. You can do monthly cleanups. We as practitioners have to do monthly cleanups because the unconscious mind is always listening in. So when we work with our clients, our unconscious mind thinks we're working with ourselves. And as much as we can protect our energy and keep our energy to ourselves, our unconscious mind is always listening in. So we do our own monthly cleanups. And people can come back for their own cleanups as often as they feel like they need to. And we can keep going back further and further in time, because this is work that we can do that crosses generations, that crosses into past lives. And when we clear our trauma, we clear some of that past trauma, and we're clearing it for our own children so that they don't repeat the same trauma in their lives. So it's incredibly powerful work that is not only for self, but for the other people along your generational line. And it doesn't take long because the unconscious mind acts so quickly.
I think that's amazing. Do you feel like people are really hesitant to go down this road because they feel like they are going to be so out of control of
So
themselves?
that's the interesting thing, is sometimes people think with hypnotherapy or timeline therapy, which really is a form of hypnotherapy. In timeline therapy, it's the conscious mind and the unconscious mind working in rapport. And with hypnotherapy, we're really working just with the unconscious mind, and we ask the conscious mind to go away and take a little vacation. And so, yeah, sometimes people think that they're out of control, and that's maybe because of their experience of seeing hypnosis stage shows, et cetera, et cetera. And the reality is that when you are working with these tools, you are more in control than at any other point in your life. First of all, it is your responsibility for change. You get to decide, I want to do this, I'm not going to do this. It's your choice. We as the practitioner are not doing anything to you. We are not doing anything for you. We call ourselves the guide, and your unconscious mind is the coach. And you can choose to follow the directions that we give as the guide and play along and follow those directions or not. It is completely up to you. And your unconscious mind is always charged with keeping you safe. So if your unconscious mind feels unsafe, it will just knock you out of the trance state so that it won't even be effective. And an example of that is stage shows. Stage shows are meant to be humorous. People are paying money. It's entertainment, right? So the hypnotist first of all, ask for volunteers. So only the extroverts put their hands up, and the introverts are sitting there going, don't pick me, don't pick me. And so those extroverts all get up on stage, and the hypnotist then has them start doing sillier and sillier things to see who is willing to play along and be the most funny for the advantage of the audience. And some people, even through this early testing phase, their unconscious mind will go, yeah, that's not safe, I'm not doing that. And they get knocked out of trance. And then there's a stagehand at the back that just quietly takes them off stage and returns them to their seat. So he might have started with 30 volunteers and he ends up with 10, the 10 that are willing to play out loud. Those 10 people who are on stage, honestly, any of the things they've just been asked to do, they would do in their regular life anyway when they have a drink or two under their belt. When people have a drink or two under their belt, that's when their critical faculty, which is a little gateway between the conscious and the unconscious mind, comes down. In other words, they're moving into that state of hypnosis. If they're willing to do it then, they're willing to do it on stage, and their unconscious mind feels perfectly safe. So they haven't been knocked out of trance and haven't decided, nope, not doing this. All the other people were protected by their unconscious mind. Their unconscious mind did not feel safe, so they stopped playing along and they were escorted back to their seats. Your unconscious mind will only ever allow you to do what it feels safe with. And therefore, you are always in control. Does that make sense?
Yes, it absolutely does. And when you were talking earlier, you're talking about the amount of information that our mind can process.
Mm-hmm.
And you had mentioned, that we're also overwhelmed with all of the devices and all of the, I have extreme notification fatigue because there's always
Yes.
something going off. There's an email or a text message or a social
Yes.
media message. And we have all of these things that are coming at us. Now, I wonder this about myself because I used to be a voracious reader. I loved to read. I would just read all of the books. And I can't do that anymore. I cannot sit down and read a book. I don't know. I wonder sometimes, is that just something that comes with age? I just don't have the attention span. I have suffered trauma in the past 2 years. So I wonder if that plays a role. Is that something that you think hypnotherapy could change? where I would be able to, kind of go back to being able, I guess, to process information the way that I used to.
So first of all, what I want to say there is there has been research done that shows how the attention span of the human race has been steadily declining over the past 20 years. And we now have an attention span that is less than that of a fish, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's simply because of all of those, beeps and notifications, as you say. And it means we're highly unproductive because every time something beeps and our attention is drawn there, we forget what we were doing over here and we can't get back in focus and blah, blah, blah. So you're not alone. And secondly, if there's been trauma in the last couple of years, then yeah, going in and releasing that trauma for you is going to allow your body to stop playing the horror show and start playing the love story, such that you can settle your whole nervous system so that you can just sit and focus and be able to enjoy a book, as opposed to always having to be on high alert. And it's when you're always on high alert that you're then catching every single ping along the way, and that's not allowing you to sit and settle.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that really, it just bothers me, and I just feel like just society in general has just become so complex. Like we don't enjoy things anymore. We don't even enjoy life in the moment any longer. We're always so distracted from one another. It's
Exactly.
like we can't even sit and have a conversation because one of us is going to be looking at our phone at any given second.
Yeah.
We just don't put these things down for any length of time. And so I
True
think
enough.
it's almost like an addiction, and it's an
It
addiction that's
absolutely is an
probably
addiction.
it's shared by just about everybody,
And
unfortunately.
it's designed to be an addiction,
Yes,
right?
very
The
intentional
developers
in
know
my
this,
opinion.
and all of the
Yeah,
apps and it's all of it is designed to keep you coming back to it. And again, it's more programming, right?
yeah,
And so you have to choose whether that's something that you want to fall into, or do you want to live your life a different way? Because you don't have to fall into it if you have other things that you'd rather spend your time on, right? I
yeah,
live in nature. I love being in nature. I'm outside as much as I can be. I honestly could care less about social media. I'm there for my business to have a presence so people can find me. I don't scroll. I post beautiful scenery in nature because my audience is saying it's so peaceful. I love that. Keep posting it because looking at my pictures of nature helps calm their nervous system. It's not something that I'm interested in spending my time on, is scrolling what's going on in everybody else's lives. However, many people do, and that's how they spend their time, and they have spare time in their day and they just start scrolling. And there is definite correlation between the amount of time you spend scrolling social media and rates of depression, because everybody posts on social media what's going well. And then you're looking at that and seeing everyone else's life looks amazing, and I'm running the horror show. And the reality is if we just get off social media, as well as getting off the news, that we can find a place to getting back into our love story, either through some help like timeline therapy that helps you rewire that neurology, and also just getting out into nature where you're getting into the hurts of the earth, which is so much more calming than that beta brainwave constantly running in our head and scrolling.
yeah. And I've been saying this since probably the mid to late 90s that I thought, everybody was so excited about social media. And I personally thought it was going to be the downfall of society. And I've been saying that for forever. I thought, it's really a double-edged sword because it's great and the technology at your fingertips and all of the information and all of that. But I just felt like it was a slippery slope and it was going to be the complete breakdown and downfall of society. I am standing by that I think that we're there.
We are. And I was just listening to another radio show this week with a psychiatrist, Dr. McFillin, and he was talking about the same thing and the fact that our 20 somethings don't understand sarcasm
No, they don't.
because they haven't learned to watch facial cues, to listen to the tone of voice and pick up on that type of humor because their learning has come from social media.
Right. And
And
and texting is
exactly.
I read something or I saw an article that said that the younger generation is getting offended if you use a period at the end of a text message. Like they take it as a negative connotation of some kind. I don't quite understand that. You're just using, correct punctuation, but they feel like
Right.
there's some type of negative, there's something negative when you put a period at the end of whatever you texted.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And I do know that there's so many different rules, even within the social media where like I'm not on Instagram much. And then one day I was commenting on a friend of mine's daughter's post, and my daughter comes along and goes, "Mommy, you can't write that many words on an Instagram post or comment." And I'm like, "What?" And so there's all these rules about the number of words that you can have in your comment, et cetera, et cetera. And they have grown up with it, so they innately understand it. You and I, who didn't have a cell phone in our diaper, are
Yeah.
looking at this going, "What?"
Exactly. To me, I want to find a way, like an escape. And it is like, as you mentioned earlier, it's something, it's a tool, when we need to learn to
Mhm.
use it as a tool for our
Yes.
business and not get sucked into, this world where we are doing this type of mindless scrolling and all of that, because you're right. It does get depressing because when I'm sitting there and if I'm scrolling for any amount of time, I'm just thinking about all of the things I could have been doing and how I could have
Yes.
been more productive.
Right.
And when am I going to get it together? That sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a huge time waster as well.
It
Exactly.
really
And yet, that's how the developers have designed it so that you keep coming
Yeah.
back. You want to see how many likes you got on a certain post, da 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 da.
Those
And
dopamine hits every time you get a like or a
exactly,
love or anything, you're getting a hit of
exactly,
dopamine. And so that's
exactly.
all very, very intentional. And you have to
Hmm.
look at the bigger picture and wonder, well, why are they doing this sort of thing? What is their end goal? Is it just
Control.
the dumbing down
Let's
of
just say what it
society
is.
and so
Yeah,
they can control
control.
that? That's my thought process.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, we're going to have to take a really quick break, but we are going to come back and we are going to learn more about what you do and how people can get this incredible hypnotherapy, so should they so choose. America Out Loud Talk Radio plays on the iHeartRadio network. You can also listen on our media player from any web browser anywhere in the world. We have the best in-class apps available on Apple, Android, or Alexa 24/7. Great talk radio. All of our shows go to podcast the following day. You can hear them on apps such as Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeart Podcasts, and many more. Be sure to subscribe and rate the show on Apple Podcasts for me. Don't forget to check out our online store at americaoutloud.shop, where you can find all of the products that we represent on our network at a discounted rate, including an incredible line of products from Chemical Free Body. Unlike the majority of supplements you'll find on the market today, with Chemical Free Body, you won't have to worry about harmful ingredients, binders, fillers, or flow agents. Their ultra safe breakthrough nanosilver technology destroys pathogens, balances the microbiome, and boosts immunity. All of these products are proudly made in the USA and are backed by an unheard of double your money back guarantee. I've made a twice daily Green 85 drink part of my routine, which has led to a decrease in belly bloat and an increase in my energy throughout the day. Use promo code OUTLOUD to save 20% off the Healthy Gut Bundle. I'll catch you on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
It's time and this is what.
Virus protection and immune boosting just got easier. Enter the Daily V-Stack. Using cellular absorption technology, we put vitamins A, C, D, zinc, and quercetin together with a multi-mineral complex for complete protection. The Daily V-Stack is basically an oral IV of 6 products, all in one at an affordable price. Go to chemicalfreebody.com/outloud, get the Daily V-Stack, protect yourself, boost your immune system, and save 20% on your first order.
Be prepared for the next pandemic with the Contagion Emergency Kit, created by Dr. Peter McCullough, Chief Scientific Officer at the Wellness Company. The kit contains essential medications you need to stay safe. It includes life-saving, low-supply medications that were previously withheld: ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, generic Z-Pak, generic Tamiflu, budesonide, and a free nebulizer. A guidebook is included for safe use in emergencies. At time of purchase, complete a quick intake form. Don't worry, if you use any of the medications, they can be replenished within 2 years. Stay ahead of future emergencies with confidence. Order your Contagion Emergency Kit today by going to twc.health/outloud and use code OUTLOUD for $65 off your first order plus free shipping.
Trouble concentrating or recalling information is frustrating, embarrassing, and kills productivity. Nutrition company Healthy Cell created Focus and Recall to boost your brain power. And unlike other supplements that don't work, Focus and Recall is not a pill. It's a gel you swallow with ultra absorption of science-backed ingredients to help you immediately sharpen focus and strengthen recall. Go to healthycell.com and use limited time code OUTLOUD for 25% off your first order. Risk-free. Love it or your money back. Guaranteed. Healthycell.com. Code OUTLOUD.
I'm Dr. James Bragman. Do you suffer from allergies, sinus problems, or just seem to be getting sick more often? You're not alone. Many of my patients are finding relief with Cofix RX nasal spray. I've relied on the sanitizing power of povidone iodine for years. Cofix RX has harnessed that power to help cleanse germs, allergens, and viruses in your nasal cavity. You brush your teeth and wash your hands daily. Stay healthy by using Cofix RX to wash and cleanse your nose daily. Get Cofix RX today. Go to America Out Loud Shop and click on the Cofix RX banner or type in cofixrx.com/outloud. Buy now and receive a 20% discount with a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Stay prepared with the Wellness Company's Medical Emergency Kit, designed by top cardiologist Dr. Peter McCullough. It includes medications like ivermectin, amoxicillin, generic Z-Pak, and other life-saving antibiotics, plus a guidebook for safe use. Be ready for emergencies. Order now at twc.health/outloud and use code OUTLOUD for $60 off your first order plus free shipping.
Many voices, one freedom, united in the First Amendment. Our goal is to herald the voice of genuine liberty at AmericaOutloud.news, a place where you'll find the naked truth expressed with a patriotic heart. Now is our time, my fellow Americans. America Out Loud Talk Radio. Liberty and justice for all.
Welcome back to Nurses Out Loud on America Out Loud Talk Radio. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton. Wherever you're listening from today and whatever you're doing, I thank you for giving me the gift of your time. Be sure to make AmericaOutloud.news your daily stop for all the latest news and happenings. We all must do our part and share the stories, the articles, the podcasts, and videos so we can help secure America's future. If you're just joining us, I've been talking with integrative mind body health practitioner, Melissa Deely. Let's jump right back in. Melissa, thanks again for being here with me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear more about the hypnotherapy. I know I am the biggest skeptical person ever. So if you can get me interested in something like this, I think there's a lot of benefit to it, but I'm one of those people that are like, it probably does work, but it probably won't work with me. Kind of like you were alluding to in the beginning, like there's just some people that it just doesn't work with. And why is that? I feel like I'm the poster child for that.
So I wasn't alluding to that at the beginning. It's interesting how we delete, distort, and generalize. Right. We hear what we expect to hear.
Right.
And what I will say, though, is if you don't believe it will work for you, then I'm going to tell you that it won't work for you because it's all about you taking responsibility for your change, right? Yeah. So if you are willing to step into this and follow my instructions, and my instructions are really very easy, and allow your unconscious mind to do the work and ask your conscious mind to go away during the time of hypnosis, then you can be hypnotized. However, if you believe you can't be, then you won't be, because you get what you believe in, you get what you focus on, right? And that's why some people will say it didn't work for me. It's because they went into it believing that it wouldn't work for them, or because their hypnotherapist didn't set them up for success. Mm-hmm. So when I work with people, we go through a series of suggestibility tests, and I take them through some tests to ensure that they are willing to take responsibility for their change, that they are willing to play along, and I show them that they can be hypnotized, or If they are not going through the tests with success, then I'll simply say, you're not ready for this yet.
Right. And I don't think it's that I think I can't be hypnotized. I actually think I probably could be hypnotized. It's that I wonder if like long term will it make a difference, I guess is what I'm thinking. But I'm just
So
people.
yes, it's highly effective. It's even more effective when we do timeline therapy first, because you don't buy a new couch and bring it into your living room without getting rid of the old couch, right? We
Right.
need to get rid of the garbage first in order to create the space for the new suggestions to come in and take hold and be effective. If you try to grow a rose in crappy soil, it's just going to die. If we remove those limiting beliefs, if we remove those toxic emotions, we are then creating space for the beautiful suggestions that we give directly to the unconscious mind in hypnotherapy. That's literally what hypnotherapy is: getting you into a trance state and giving suggestions directly to your unconscious mind without the conscious mind getting in the way, questioning it, getting critical about it, etc., such that you simply start using the new behavior, and it's all about behavior change. And when those conditions are set so that you now have this space to accept these new suggestions, that's when it is lasting. If we just do it on top of all the muck, then it doesn't last as long. 100% agreed.
Right. So, well, given that, like, what are some of the misconceptions about hypnotherapy? Sorry, I can't even talk today. Hypnotherapy that you encounter the most? Like, how do you combat those misconceptions?
So there's many. And again, they largely come because of stage hypnosis, as well as because of how Hollywood portrays hypnosis. The first one is that it's mind control. It's that me as the hypnotherapist is going to do something to you. And I'm not doing anything to you. I am simply the guide giving instructions, and you get to choose whether you follow them or not. In fact, people might think that, you're going to make me quack like a duck. Well, I'm only going to have you quacking like a duck if you're willing and wanting to quack like a duck. However, that is stage hypnosis, and it's meant for laughter. In hypnotherapy, what purpose would having you quack like a duck serve?
Right.
None. I'm trying to work with you in order to, as I said, bring you to your magnificence, change behaviors for your positive benefit. So the suggestions that I'm giving to your unconscious mind are based on an intake that we've done where I'm asking you, what is it that you want? And it's all visualization that we work with as I go through that interview. Who are you with? Where are you? How do you see yourself? How do you know when you have it? What will happen if you don't have it, etc., so that I can build a beautiful story that I read to you in a lovely hypnotic voice, very calm, very slow. And I just guide you into this story that has you going into deep relaxation, which, by the way, every single person that I've ever taken into trance loves it, and they don't want to come back because we don't spend enough time in that theta healing state. We don't spend enough time in deep relaxation. And when we get there, the body's like, oh, finally. And they don't want to come back out. And of course, I have to make sure I bring everybody back out of trance. And then they're like, oh, that was so lovely. The other piece of it is some people think it's brainwashing. And it was Estabrooks back in, I think, the 70s that actually proved through a lot of research that he did that hypnosis alone is not enough for brainwashing. There's 5 steps to brainwashing, and all of them must be present. I was saying that there's 5 steps to brainwashing, and all of them must be present in order to effectively brainwash someone. And those are that you have to remove them from their environment of influence. You have to deprive them of sleep. You have to create pain for them if they disagree with what you're saying. You create pleasure for them if they agree. And there must be a change in biochemistry, so some kind of drug is administered. So all the hypnotherapists that I know are not like kidnapping people and putting them in their basement and depriving them of sleep and causing them pain and giving them drugs. It's not brainwashing. It is simply giving suggestions to your unconscious mind based on what you've said that you want And you have the choice to follow the instructions and the guidance that we give to you, because you are always in control, as we talked about at the very beginning of this radio show.
Now,
Some other things.
I'm sorry. Do you feel like hypnotherapy will ever enter into mainstream healthcare? I'm curious about that.
Well, it's interesting because when I teach hypnotherapy as a class, I go deep into the history of it. And hypnotherapy has been around since the beginning of time, because we all have an unconscious mind, and that's all we need. We can go back to the ancient Grecian sleep temples and the Egyptian dream temples, and that was a form of hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy simply is putting someone in trance, and the reality is that we already spend 90% of our day in trance. If you've ever driven from point A to point B, and you get to point B and go, oh, I don't remember the last 10 minutes of the drive, you were in trance, right?
Yeah.
Or you go into a room and you're looking for something and you can't remember what you came into the room to look for. It's because when you thought of it, you were in trance. Or you might even have your car keys in your hand and be walking around the house going, has anyone seen the car keys? And they're like, yeah, they're in your hand. You picked them up when you were in trance. And then when you were going to leave, you consciously looked for your car keys, and they're not where they are supposed to be. And they're in your hand, but you don't realize that because you picked them up in trance. So
apparently I spend a lot of my day in trance, it sounds like.
You do. And it's not
Yeah.
your memory. You're literally
Right.
in trance. 90% of our day is in trance.
Yeah.
Television and movies are designed to put us into trance, right? When we watch a movie, we watch Superman, say, and he goes into the telephone box to change into his Superman suit, and then he takes off and flies through the air, and he's going towards the building to save all the people from the burning building. You're watching the movie, cheering for Superman. He's so amazing. Please save the people in the burning building. You're not standing up going, that can't be true because people can't fly. That's your conscious mind.
Right.
Your unconscious mind is going along with the movie and loving every moment of it and cheering for the hero or cheering for the underdog, whoever you're cheering for. You're in trance. And in fact, businesses and politicians know all of this. And so they use this as well in their campaigns. The slogan, "Just Do It" by Nike. That's a trancy slogan, because what does just do it mean? It means something different to every single person. And so it appeals to a larger audience and your unconscious mind, wherever you're at in that moment. The Obama campaign, change is something to believe in. He never said what the change was going to be, so each person filled that in for themselves, and the slogan itself became translate, and so they liked it. They became followers. So we have this all around us, and we all have an unconscious mind. And through the millennia of time, hypnotherapy has been pushed down as being crazy, and then it's come back up as being something that has great potential, and then it gets pushed down again, it comes back up. And it was in 1956 when the American Medical Association actually accepted it as a form of medical treatment. So it is part of the AMA. And because there's still people, of course, who have seen stage hypnosis and go, I never want to be hypnotized, because they think that the people up on stage were being controlled by the hypnotist, as opposed to the people up on stage were having the time of their lives playing along with whatever he was asking them to do. It is definitely on the uprising now. People are seeing the benefits of it. It is gaining more acceptance, and it is a beautiful tool because it's non-invasive. There's no negative side effects, and it can get powerful results.
Now,
It's
if
interesting
my
'cause-
listeners would want to do something like this, is it something that can be done virtually? Do you have to go in person to see a practitioner, or is it something you can do like over the computer or over the phone?
I do all of my work 100% on Zoom. I live in a small town and I reach the entire world thanks to Zoom. So
Okay.
yes, it absolutely can be done over Zoom. Zoom is pure energy, and
Yeah.
the person just I need to be able to see them from a safety perspective. So they have to be on camera because I don't want them falling out of their chair or something like that.
Right.
And they just need to be able to hear my voice and follow my instructions. And so absolutely, yes, it can be done on Zoom.
All right, wonderful. So if my listeners are interested, how can they find you to maybe schedule a consultation?
They can simply email me at melissa@yourguidedhealthjourney.com, or they can go to my website, which is yourguidedhealthjourney.com. I offer a free discovery call for every single person so that we can just have that chat, set their mind at ease. I can answer any questions, concerns they have before we start with the actual intake session. And from my website, they can just book that complimentary discovery call.
That's amazing. And we'll make sure that we include all of the links to your email and all of the links to your website, and all of that we'll include in the show notes. We've got just a few minutes left, so I'm going to ask an interesting question to end the show. But I want to know, if you could use hypnotherapy to help the world with one issue, help the world solve just one issue, what would you choose to use hypnotherapy?
I would actually choose to use timeline therapy, and I would have every single person in the world do one session of releasing all of their toxic emotions and all of their negative beliefs. And if we did that, we would live in a very, very different world.
I think you're probably right. I think you're right. There is a lot of people that are dealing with their traumas, and like you said, we continually stuff all of this stuff down, and we don't get it out in the open, and we just continue to take in more information on top of all of this old junk that we're not getting. There's no room, there's no room left.
Exactly.
We've got to clean out the closet, if you will. So,
right. And over time, it does cause dis-ease of the body.
Yeah,
and so when we clear it out, we can regain our health.
Yeah, because that will start manifesting in physical symptoms and disease in the body, like you said. And I will ask you this question. I have just a few minutes, but I want to ask this because when I was in Colombia recently, I did a health and wellness retreat. I don't believe it was like a hypnotherapy, but we did a type of a regressive meditation. Is that a form of hypnotherapy that I did? I really actually enjoyed it, and I felt like it was I felt like I had a little bit of a breakthrough with that.
Yeah, so there's a number of different techniques that allow us to get into our theta healing state. Meditation is one of them. Hypnosis is another one. And so if it's a regressive meditation, it is similar to hypnotherapy. Really, the difference between meditation and hypnotherapy is that meditation, you're getting into your theta healing state, you're calming your monkey mind, you're going inward, and you're just sitting with that and perhaps calling in answers from your higher self. With hypnosis, you're in that same state, and what we're doing is we're giving suggestions. We're using that state to give the suggestions of what you want to your unconscious mind. With regressive meditation, I'm assuming it's taking you back into past lives, past generations, in order to do some healing work. And timeline therapy, that's exactly what it is doing. With timeline therapy, we're not going back event by event, which some other therapies do. We go straight to the root. So we're going to the oldest memory of the first time you had anger or fear or shame or rage or guilt or sadness. Because when we take the root, we clear it all. We're not making zombies out of people so that you never feel your emotions again. We're just getting rid of all the squashed down, negative, unwarranted emotion that you've been carrying around. We want you to feel your emotions. It's healthy to feel your emotions. We just want them to be warranted emotions moving forward, and have you have the skill set to be able to work through them and release them, because you get the learnings in the moment by asking, how is this happening for me?
Yeah, I'm telling you, every time that we talk, Melissa, I get more and more convinced that I'm going to try this. So you will probably be hearing from me shortly. And then we can do a follow-up episode and talk about how I've released all of my negative trauma and I'm completely healed. So
beautiful. Well, A, I would love to guide you through that. And B, the NLP practitioner in me is coming out and saying, don't say the word try. Because try lets your unconscious mind set you up to have an out. You either do or you don't. You make a decision.
Right. Like Yoda said, there is no try.
Exactly. There is no try.
Yes. I am getting very open to this. I will say every single time that we talk, and I'll like hang up the call with you, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm totally going to do it. And then all of that stuff comes back, and I get, busy, and all of the things start piling onto my brain again. And I'm like, okay, maybe not. Maybe one day, but I think we're getting closer. And my listeners hold me accountable. Okay, email me nurses@americaoutloud.com if you want me to go through with this hypnotherapy. I think it would be very interesting. Can we do it on air? That might be
We
interesting.
cannot actually do it on air, and I'll tell you
Okay.
why. The unconscious mind does not feel safe being recorded because it
Oh,
doesn't know
okay.
where that recording will show up and be used later. So
I
we
was
never
just thinking
record
as I said
any
it.
of the work. Yeah.
Yeah, as I said it, I was like, oh, maybe that's not a good idea. Who knows what would
Yeah,
come out?
it won't work because the unconscious mind doesn't feel safe. And before I would
Yeah.
start my work with anyone, I'm always asking, is it okay with you for your unconscious mind to go through this healing today and for you to be aware of it consciously? And if the answer is no, we stop right there.
Right. That's amazing. I can't believe we are out of time. It goes by so quickly, but we've covered,
Doesn't
I
it?
feel like we've covered a lot of ground. People that may not have been familiar with hypnotherapy now have at least, a foundation to build on. We're going to make sure that we include all of your links. And I do highly encourage you, my listeners, I know that you offer some webinars and informational webinars. I would definitely encourage you to attend those and follow Melissa on her social medias and her website to see when those might become available. Melissa, thank you again so much for joining me.
It is absolutely my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and I'd love to do it again. Thanks, Kimberly.
We will definitely. And that is all the time that we have for today, friends. But remember, we are here on the air 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern with a different nurse host daily. You can also catch the encore at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please be sure to tune in and listen to myself and my amazing sister nurses. As we walk you through all of these hot topics, we will empower you with information and education. We will advocate and we will stand in the gap for you because we are nurses and this is what we do. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton, and you can find me here every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Until next time, be safe, be well, and God bless. Remember that we are in a war for truth. We are putting out a bounty on the real misinformation and exposing the purveyors of propaganda. No topic is off limits as we shine our light and expose the darkness.
It's time